Hey there guys, welcome back to Anthony Reviews, where Anthony reviews. And as you can see right in front of you here, we are going to be looking at my vintage Power Rangers collection, all from the Mighty Morphin era of Power Rangers here in America. Now, as you can see, it's a little bit different than I normally do these videos. Everything is now right in front of you, available right from the start. I want to do this a little bit differently. I kind of want to go down each sort of individual item because there's a lot of big bulky items that I can't really be like, and here's this one, and here's this one, without, worrying about stuff falling over and being a mess. So, as far as the collection goes, here's my full collection, I guess you could say. I've got all the 8-inch figures of the main Rangers, and I have a good number of Megazords back there. Obviously, you'll notice I'm missing, one particular one, and a couple other, shuttle Zords here and there. But I've got a lot of the main ones, and I'm going to go through each Zord and the figures and kind of talk about how I got them, my personal connection to them, all that fun stuff. But here's my collection, front and center. But let's go ahead and get into the main meat of everything, I should say. So, the first item that we have here is actually not the first of the Megazords, but the Ninja Megazord, complete with the Falcon, of course, on the back there. Now, as far as this Megazord is concerned, to me, this was the Megazord when I was a kid. Now, I was born in 1995, so obviously Power Rangers had already existed for a few years before it actually was, for me to get into it. My uncle was really into Power Rangers, who's just a few years older than me. I say a few years. It's like, I don't know, 5 to 8 years. That's not what the point of the story is. Either way, Power Rangers the movie was my Power Rangers. That movie came out June 1995, just like myself. And so as far as Power Rangers movies go, that's what I knew was, considering the characters and the Zords and the powers and all that, that was what I had to go off of. The show was already something that was happening, and it wasn't something I really jumped into until years and years later. Now, as far as this Zord specifically is concerned, I used to work at a comic book store back in the day. And, of course, a lot of people would bring in stuff like toys and cards, lots of trading cards. Mainly Magic the Gathering, that's whatever. And, they bring in comics and toys, and that was more what I was into, obviously. And one day, this guy who was kind of around, the Power Rangers age, probably mid to late 20s kind of thing, probably late 20s, him and his, I don't know if it was his wife, fiance, girlfriend, they had come in, and he was just wanting to sell on consignment his Power Ranger stuff, and he had pretty much everything. I think the only things he didn't have was like Titanus. I'm pretty sure he had Tor, but he definitely had the Megazord and the Thunder Megazord and the Dragon Zord, the White Tiger Zord, and of course he had the Ninja Megazord with the Falcon as well. And so I had spent a good amount of time talking to him about the toys and, as far as pricing and discussing and all that stuff. And after a good amount of time of doing this and getting away from the Magic the Gathering crowd for a little bit, he asked me, was like, so was there a particular one that, you're attached to? Like, would there be one that you want? And I had told him, well, out of all of them, it's this one because, as I stated, the movie is my Power Rangers. So he tells me, he's like, okay, well, I'll sell it to you. And it was mine. So I got to get the complete Ninja Megazord. All the pieces are there. It's all awesome. I love it. It came with the box as well. And that was my first vintage Megazord that I owned. So that's just a beautiful, beautiful piece. And for the while, I was content with just having this. This was the only piece that I needed. It was the only piece that I wanted. And then, as most Power Rangers Super Sentai fans go, one giant robot is just not enough. So you go for more. Now, the next Megazord that I ended up picking up was the Megazord, what everyone knows as the definitive Megazord from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And this item was definitely sort of a hard one to kind of track down and get. Even the one I have, unfortunately, is an incomplete item. As you can see, he does not have the sword. And the other item that he's missing is the horns on the Triceratops. So that's always been a bummer. Luckily, this is an item that is up on a shelf, and it's not too distracting. If he was missing something like the chest piece or the shoulder pads, I would be a little bit more annoyed, obviously. But overall, it's fine enough. At one point, I would love to go ahead and replace those items, either get them on their own or maybe just buy a whole new Megazord. It really all depends, but it's good that I have a 85%, 90%, I don't know, complete Megazord in my collection, because if you're going to have a classic Power Rangers collection, you need the classic Megazord, and no matter what, they're going to run you some pretty expensive prices. I can't remember exactly what I got for this one. It was under 100 for sure, so there's that. It's got like a scuff right on the front there. Obviously, he's used, as I've mentioned. He does not come with certain items, but it's, what are you going to do when you're someone in your early 20s trying to recollect toys that are technically not even from your childhood? You have to make do with the limited income that you have. But I mean, it's fine. He looks good for what he is. For being a used toy, I think he's great. He's got even like the tail end piece for the T-Rex there. He's got some sort of sticker that apparently I never removed, so that's fun. I'm glad that's coming out in the video. So it's neat. It's neat to have, and I'm happy to have it. So, you know, maybe some down on the line I'll replace it. But for now, perfectly good representation of the OG Megazord. The next Zord that I ended up picking up was actually complete, brand new in box. So that's definitely probably the cleanest and nicest item I have in my collection, and that is the Green Ranger's Dragon Zord. So obviously for Power Rangers fans, that Green Ranger is a really important part of the Power Rangers mythos. It's a big part of their childhood. The first evil Ranger shown on the show. He could take out the whole team. He ended up joining the team later, and you know, the character of Tommy Oliver has gone on to be one of the, if not, I guess, the most important character in all of Power Rangers, which is kind of crazy to think about. So yeah, this is a really cool item. I love the gold and everything on there. Let's see if he's got the... Jesus. So that's, he does work, as you saw. He makes the annoying light and sound. I don't know, like, why that would, like, who wants that, really? I guess kids do, because it's a light and sound, and it's fun. He comes with this thing. Yeah, that's cool. It's cool that it's complete. He also came with the figure, of course, which we'll look at later, but this is a really cool piece just because it is complete. It's in a nice condition. It's, as I stated before, one of the nicest pieces in the collection that I own. So it's good to have that as well, you know. Complete stickers, complete tailpiece. The Dragon Zord. He can't do much, you know. He's smaller than the others, and he can't really do a whole lot. But he's here, and people love him, and that's all that really matters. He's a chunky boy. Okay. And the last Zord that I have here is the White Tiger Zord. Now, of course, this would look a lot better if I did have the Thunder Megazord. That's something that I plan on getting eventually, you know how these things go. But this is a really cool item. I do quite like it, honestly. White Ranger was a lot more important to me as a kid because obviously I grew up with the movie. Now, in that film, he loses the Tiger powers and then gains the Falcon powers, but still, the White Ranger in general has a stronger connection to me as a Power Rangers fan than, say, the Green Ranger. So having representation of that, both in Falcon and Tiger, is really cool. This was another item I bought in box. I'm fairly certain that it was a used item that had all the pieces of the box together, and we'll get in a little bit more of that with the figure that it comes with later. But either way, this is a very, very nice piece. He's got the sword, obviously, there, but he's got all his stickers. He's got all his pieces. He looks really, really good. I'm happy. I'm happy to have the the Tiger Zord. It's really cool looking. He's got all the little red spheres and everything. It's cool. It's how can you not like it? I don't think I've got batteries in it. That's probably why it's not working right now. But as we saw with the dragon there, do you really want these things turning on and making noise? I don't. That's fine. We don't really need that. But I mean, he looks good, does he not? I think he looks good. I don't know. The arms straight like that, you can't hold the sword, so you kind of have to. Well, I guess you can now. Thanks for that. He looks a little weird, so I like to have the arms just a little bit forward to have him a bit more dynamic with his big baguette. But White Tiger Zord, the last of the Zords that I have, really, really cool item. And of course, you can't have a Power Rangers collection without the Power Rangers themselves. So here we have the original 5 Rangers. Of course, these can be anyone, really, when you think about it. So if you want this to be Jason, you want it to be Rocky, you want that to be, Adam, you want it to be Zach. It all depends on whatever you want. They're wearing masks so they can be anyone. The beauty of Power Rangers. Complete relatability. Anyways, so most of these items right here are used items. I usually don't mind that when collecting vintage stuff. I actually almost prefer it. Now, if I can get a clean item like that Blue Ranger over there who was in box, then bravo to me. But with stuff like this, you can see the scuffs, and you can see scratches and all that fun stuff. That's not a huge problem to me because it means that the figure was loved. The figure was played with. This means that it fulfilled its purpose as a toy, and that was to focus, of course, and that was to be played with by children, to provide joy to the kids all over the world. And I think these Power Rangers accomplished that. They did their goal, and that's what Power Rangers is all about. So the scratches and scuffs, while, to have a nice, clean-looking figure in your collection, that is good. And there are other people that only collect good and clean, and that's fine. Maybe someday I'll be able to upgrade these to in-box figures, and they'll look really nice. But for now, I like having these. I like the story that they tell. I like them. And as I mentioned before, the Blue Ranger did come in his box, so he's nice and clean. He is never been opened. But as you can see, he's out. He's out now. He's breathing, hashtag let him breathe, as they say on podcasts of a certain major wrestling style. But yeah, cool stuff. I like them. They all come with their guns as well, so that's a plus. And if you're going to have the main 5, why stop there? You might as well get those 6 Rangers in there too. So we've got Tommy Oliver represented in both his green and his white. Both of them came with the Zords when I bought them. As mentioned before, Tommy, in this one, the green one, was brand new in box. So this one looks really nice and pristine and shiny. Look at that gold. It's a nice, lovely gold there. You'll often find this figure loose without the shield on there. So it's good to have him new in box. He comes with his blaster as well. That's the one thing I wish that these figures did have was their weapons, but it's not a big deal. Then over here, White Ranger, Tiger Power, or Falcon Zord, depending on however you are. Now this guy, he comes with Saba, so that's probably the coolest figure in the bunch because he comes with his iconic weapon. Now, yes, it is all just completely gray, so that's not exactly a great item, but the fact that he comes with something at all is preferred, so that's really cool. He's got like a weird, I think this was glued at one point, you see on the chest piece, the shield there, so that's a bit of a bummer, but as I stated, they look great on a shelf, so I don't complain too much on that regard. But either way, here are all my 8-inch Power Rangers figures. Sure, at some point, maybe I'll pick up the evil space aliens, as they're called, with Goldar and Lord Zed. Why was I blanking on the name? Maybe I'll pick those up at some point. Maybe I'll even pick up the smaller figures and the Shark Cycles and the play set and all that stuff. But for now, I got my figures. I got my Zords. Almost all of them. I'm happy with what I have, and I'm happy to share them with you, the people. And so, guys, that was my discussion and basic, feelings towards my vintage Power Rangers figures. I hope you enjoyed them. If you've got any sort of connection with Power Rangers or even Super Sentai, any kind of tokusatsu stuff, let me know down in the comments below. I'm in a real kick recently for both Power Rangers and Super Sentai, so it's just been on my mind, so I wanted to make this video and share it with you guys. Make sure to check out other videos, subscribe if you want, like, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. But for now, this has been Anthony. See you guys later.